Hi, my name is David Oliver, and I live here in North Carolina with my wife, Paula, and my children, 4 of them. And I just want to share what has happened to me. I have been a Christian since the age of 11, and I gave my life to Christ then, and I was baptized, and I come from a family that was broken. My parents at the time were not Christians, and there was a lot of pain and sorrow, a lot of abuse in our family. And so just to give you a little background about where I come from. I've always been a high achiever, someone that wanted to do his best in everything that he did. And July 2011, my vehicle was hit, and it seemed like my whole world came to stop. And everything just fell apart. My business fell apart. My health and my family's suffered greatly financially and spiritually. And I questioned God's goodness. When my wife became ill and she couldn't walk and doctors couldn't figure out what was happening to her, I then realized that perhaps my wife would be gone and I would lose her too. I listened to messages from a good brother, David Clayton. And at first I didn't accept what he was saying. It seemed to me to be doing away with some of the things that I felt were very important to me. And I realized that in that case, I realized that when I was in that situation, I needed help, and I couldn't live the life that I thought I could live anymore. And so, to fast forward, I was talking to a brother, and I expressed to him that I believed that what we needed was a change of nature. I could no longer control my behavior. I was frustrated with that. I was frustrated with the way I would talk to my wife, with the way I would talk to my children. And it just seemed that I was getting nowhere. I was talking to a brother and I expressed this idea to him. And he told me, "You're saying exactly what David Clayton is saying." And then at that point, to me, I felt like, no way. I can't be saying the same thing as he. I don't believe what he believes. And at that point, he told me again that I was teaching what he was teaching. And so I went home and I thought to myself, well, let me see what he's really saying. So my family was going away for the weekend, and I was going to that weekend be totally alone. And I spent time with the Bible and prayer, and I read David's messages and listened to his sermons. And then I finally realized something. All my life I've been looking for right behaviors in myself. And the thought came, what if there's a life that had all the right behaviors? He did everything perfectly like Christ would do it. What if there was a life that I could just grab onto and take as mine? What if it was that simple? It's just believing that that life has already been created and worked out for me. If I could just believe that, I thought, if I could just believe that. And for some time I struggled with it. For several weeks I struggled with it. But as I read the Bible more, and I read Paul's writings especially, I realized that's what he was saying. He was saying that we can have the life that has a victory in it. The only problem was that that would mean that all that I had believed in the past, all of the crutches that I had built for myself, I would have to let them go. I remember the morning where I prayed, Lord, forgive me for who I am. I accept your Son as my life. I want his life to live through me. I don't want to make any more choices. Sometimes I make good choices. Sometimes I make bad choices. But now I don't make any choices. I choose Christ and him alone. And I remember getting up one morning and realizing Christ is in me. He is really in me. It really hit home to me one morning when I was talking to my wife. And this conversation would usually end up in a heated conversation. And I remember talking with her and looking at her and remembering the words that I might speak. But the words that came out of my mouth were not the same words. And it seemed like the situation, it turned out good. It wasn't like it used to be. And then that's when it hit me. The Lord is helping me with my relationships with my wife, my relationships with my children. I realize he is taking control of my life, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. He is truly a Savior that he sings to me in the morning, and I just enjoy him. And I want other people to experience the same thing. And that's somewhat my story. I know it's not over. I know that Christ wants to live his life through you. He wants to live his life through you. His life was above all law. He came to break the law of sin and death in us. But he also came to walk on water, to feed 5,000, 10,000 people. He also came to heal the sick. That kind of life, when it's perfectly reproduced in us, then he will come for his own. And I pray that as we study this subject, we come to the point where Christ actually lives and breathes and works and does everything through us. And that'll be the day when I can see my brothers and sisters united on that truth. That'll be the day that will make me the most happiest of all. Thank you for listening to me.